All right. I'm going to go over something. I've been working on this for like several hours. But this is my my order flow trade analyzer spreadsheet. And I'm going to go over what all these columns are and what's going on in here. So, everything in this spreadsheet is fade tops and bottoms. So my big strategy is fading a top or bottom on the profile step. So I have fade 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are the titles of the it's just going to go up from there. So it's going to go fade 5, 6, 7, all the way up to 1,000. I don't know. Each one of these rows takes about 46 minutes to do. So you're looking at 4 hours worth of work just in with these white blocks here. So the title is the title of the particular fade. And I do have links to the picture of what was going on in the profile and a YouTube link where I go over the trade, the fade, like the top and bottom. So when we reach the top, and I think it's a fade point, I make a video and I break it down. For instance, let's just click on this. So I got it under fade 3. Or this is fade 4 actually, so we would click this and we can see how the profiles are set up, you know. And then like fade 3, right here there's like some spreading. And I note that, for instance, on fade 3 spreading right here, I'll put possible ZF. So that gives you an idea, and then there's the video links as well, which I won't do. The date, all these are on the 23rd of February. I think dates are important because if it's a summertime, you know, the market could be different. Time of day, 9:20, 9:46, 10:49, and 11:04. I don't really trade past noon. And again, there could be more or less of these, but for this particular day, we hit the top of the profile 4 times, and there's a fading opportunity. Playtime, this is how long it was at the top. So 4 minutes at the top before it fell back in. 4 minutes at top, 16 minutes, 1 tick below. So this tells me that on fade 2, it was 4 minutes at the top, and then it dropped down 1 tick and held there for 16 minutes before it dropped in again. 1 minute or less at top, 6 minutes, 1 tick below on this one, and this one was just 2 minutes at the top. Was there news? No news that day. Velocity, because, you know, news is important. Velocity, that's how fast the market moves up or down. So if it's just taking out one price after the next and moving up, I would put fast. If it's like medium, I would put medium. It was very slow that day, all day actually. So all this is going to say slow. And just real quick, these boxes you can tell are different colors. There's a reason for that. Some of these questions, some of these boxes correlate to the one before it. So title, it's its own color because nothing correlates. Date, time of day, playtime. Playtime necessarily doesn't correlate to time of the day or the date. But, you know, I figured I'd group them together, and I think breaking up the color, the boxes with different colors kind of help. But for instance, cancels, pull size, iceberg, and absorption. This is all this information in red I want to know before. This is what this information right here is what's happening right before the price drops or goes up, depending if it's a short or long. And so, for instance, if we're at a top, which all of these were at tops, in these red columns, was there any cancellation of bids or asks? Was there, and how, if there was cancellation, what was the pull size on that cancel? Was there any icebergs or absorption? So this is directly where the fade would be, and these questions all relate. So the colors kind of correlate with each other. So let's go back. Auction activity, low, low, low. Low until high is hit at 10,984. Cars rapidly trade one tick below high. Cars means contract. So basically, auction activity is market orders. How many market orders were going off? If there's no market order activity, obviously it's very slow. So velocity slow, no auction activity. That's basically shitty. Trading because nobody's really playing. However, somebody stepped in on fade 4. At this point, there's a lot of absorption. Smooth versus chop. Basically, that means is the market going up or down smoothly? One price, next price, one price, the next price, just sweeping the next price after the, just boom, 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 boom. Or is it chopping? Does it go up 3, down 2, up 3, down 2, up 4, down 1, up 4, down 5, and then it eventually reaches its profile edge? If that's the case, I would put chop. Otherwise, all these were realistically smooth, but everything was slow and there's no auction activity. So that should give you an idea of the day, and if you watch any of these videos, you'll see. Spreading. If you don't know what spreading is, I have a spreading video. On fade 3, there is possible spreading in the 5-year ZF. And this says ZF 4TOF/high. That means 5-year 4 ticks off the high. So basically what this tells me is during the spread, the 5-year was 4 ticks off the high. The 30-year is 1 tick off the high. The ultra bond was 1 tick off the high. The ultra 10-year was 2 ticks off the high. ES correlation on any of these? Sometimes ES correlates, but none of this had ES correlation that day. Major support and resistant. You should know what support and resistant level is. And both these purple boxes kind of relate to each other. So yes, overnight high. That stands for overnight high. You can abbreviate this stuff if you want. So this is where we first broke resistance. No here. No, this level was faded in last trade. No, this level was faded in last trade. Did break by 2 ticks. Okay, so that tells us something, that the market did break by 2 ticks upward, and then it faded. Profile area, top edge, top edge, top edge. So this is telling me that the trade was going from long to short, and I was going to fade short because this happened at the top edge of the profile. Our steps built before fade, yes. Here, the 5-year, nosy, and ZBZ. And these all relate. These seafoam greens or blues, whatever, they all relate. How many steps were built before the fade? 1 possible, void. So it could have been a step or it couldn't, very small. Our steps built in fade trade 2, yes, the 30-year, 3,397 contracts build at high and create step just after quick push up, holds firm and reverses. So what I can do to show you what that was we'll look at the picture, right? So that was fade 2. We'll go to fade 2. We'll look at the come on now, open up for me. Right there, the 3,997. So that tells me it got here, built this profile step, and then reversed. And it held firm, nothing, trade 4401. So let's go back here. So that's what that information is telling me, and then we can verify it by looking at a picture. These are non-available. Nothing really happened there. No. So this was no, and then these don't apply because they relate to steps built before trade. So none of these apply. Was there cancels? No. This is in the action. This is at the very high. At the very high where we want to get the most perfect entry for a fade. Was there any cancellations? No. Pull size? None, because there were no cancels. Iceberg? Yes on the bid. So there was an iceberg. And if we look at the video, we'll be able to see it. No. And I added iceberg and absorption after I did the fade 1 video, so you're not seeing information there because I added those two categories. Aggressive tick back. I should probably spell that the right way. Basically, when you get to a high, does it aggressively tick back? No on fade 1 through 3, but on fade 4, 6 star. Anything with a star is a rough number. Roughly that amount of contracts or ticking happen. And it says some aggressive, some stalled at high, only 110 traded at high, ask was firm. So that gives me an idea if we look at the picture, which, shit. And that's fade 4. Here's fade 4. 110 at the high. So that's telling me there's a bunch of tick backing here. Some aggressive tick backing and some tick backing wasn't aggressive before it ended up dropping in. Bid versus ask size. I want to know what the bid or ask was at the high before the fade. Obviously, this means picture perfect entry. I am getting in at the high. Even, so the bid versus ask was about even. On this fade 2, it was roughly 1,000 versus 5,000 on the ask. 800 bid versus 500 or 5,500 ask. 600 bid versus 5,900 ask. So that gives me an idea what the bid and ask look like when we're at the absolute high. And you can see how you could have, how these large orders were going against small bids and they were holding firm. Lean size, average, average. This is the price above. This one's not going to be so clear to you. But this is going to be the price above the absolute high. And could you lean on it if you were going to get into the fade? Average, average. And then fade 3 and 4, I changed the parameters a little bit. So there's the 5,500, obviously, and the price taps it by 13 cars. So 13 contracts went to 5,500 before the fade happened, and it never came back until later in the day. 5,900 stayed firm. Price taps it by 110 cars. 110 contracts tapped the 5,900. The 5,900 didn't pull. If it did, it would be over here in the pull or cancels. So all that shit held firm. Tick win. This is how many ticks you would have got out of these fades. 2, 4, 1, 1. Obvious profit zone. Major step. A major step means a major profile step. Major peak. A peak is kind of like a, I would say, I'll show you a picture. This is a peak. If you look at this 23 right here, that's a peak, and I would consider these steps right here. Because, I mean, they're all sort of go up, and this is a peak, so. Notes. I make notes on everything. Fade 1, very slow action overall, hard to pinpoint top. TN inverted, leaned on big ask. Fade 2, TN, UB, ZN, ZF all have heavy asks. ZN has hidden orders on bid at high, absorbing before breakdown. So I added the absorbing later. That's why there's nothing here. There's no information there. So this is obviously had been a work in progress, and I added columns. And then, you know, just notes, whatever you think's good. So like this one, breakout trade 6,000 on ask, pulled half its size. All markets ticked up at once, eventually break high by 2 ticks, then drop large. Large ask of 5,546 at that 2-tick high was visible for well over an hour or more. So that's like, it may be confusing to you, but it makes sense to me. And it's just notes, whatever you want to put there. Then we got the video links and the picture links. There was no picture for the first fade 1. Like I said, I added columns. So this is kind of good to do, about 46 minutes per analyzation to fill out all this stuff accurately. But I think it's good because it'll help you learn about certain strategies you're trying to play. If you're trying to play breakouts, fades, or mid-range or just range plays, something like that, I think analyzing what's going on in the order flow and just filling out one of these spreadsheets will help. And this is there's obviously a red line here, and then I re-put this row in because this is going to be the next day. So hopefully this helps not only me, but hopefully it helps you. We'll see. Time will tell.